welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Marielle, imperfectly, back in my kitchen with another video. This week I want to address some things, answer some questions, make some things clear, inform some frequently asked questions that I get quite often. I get them in person, I get them now online. People want to know some of the whys and how come and what about. And so I did touch bases on the get married question. That was one of the ones that I got asked a lot, and I still get asked, what about if you get married? I just had a friend call me like, what about if I come down there and get you pregnant? I'm like, sir, no. But to be clear, I want to go back and give you a little bit of backstory. Maybe that'll explain why I didn't attempt certain things. Some people want to know why I didn't try TPS, why I didn't try Daca. Again, the marriage question. Why didn't I just ask for a green card? So let's go back. When I came into the US, I was a child, I was a minor. And so my grandmother who brought me adopted me and attempted to give me my papers that way. She adopted me legally. I am adopted per the state of Florida, and applied for a petition, an I-130 petition, which is a petition to basically like give someone their green card. So to sponsor someone. She adopted me as her child, and that petition was approved back in 1993. I knew nothing of this. 93, I was born in 82. I was 11 years old. So when she got this petition approved, there was some follow-up things that were supposed to be done. So first you petition for this person, and then you proceed to apply for a I-495. Now at some point, for some reason, something happened within that time frame. I'm not sure what. I was there, my grandmother was there. As far as I knew, like first of all, I didn't know I needed papers. I didn't know this thing about needing papers. I got introduced to needing some sort of identity when I got my first job at 16, and I got hired. And shout out to West Oaks Mall, I got a job in the store called Demo. It was like a hip hop streetwear kind of store. My manager was like, yeah, welcome aboard. This was my first job. I was so excited. They were like, okay, well, tomorrow you're gonna bring some sort of ID, could be your school ID, and your social security card. I didn't know what any of that was. So I went home and I asked for a social security card, and my grandmother said, give me 2 days. And within 2 days, she gave me said card, and I went back with the job, and I started working. I've been working on that number for years. That same year, 16, I did the whole driver's ed thing in school. Florida offered that, where one of your periods was literally driver's ed. You took the course, gave you a certificate at the end of the semester. You go to the DMV, and you literally just take your picture, get your eyes checked, and you got your driver's license. So I get my driver's license, I have my social security card, I'm working. So from 16 to 21, all was well. Sometime, I think 9/11 happened when 2000, I think 2001. Then it was the 5 years of having my driver's license. It expired in 5 years. So I go to the DMV with my expired license, and I say, hey, I need to renew my license, it's expired. And the lady asked me for my social, and I was like, social, oh yeah, that's that card, that's that. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I have that number, wrote it down. She said, you must have a number wrong. No, this is pretty much it. I double checked. She was like, let me see the card, because she's putting it in, and this is not, 2 + 2 is not, the math ain't mathing. So she then asked me for the card. I hand it to her. She puts it in. She looks at the screen, puzzled, crosses her arms, and go, you have 5 minutes to get out of here before I call the police. So I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean? She was like, this is not you. You're lucky I'm not confiscating this card. You need to get out of here. So I take off, and I remember calling my grandma. I won't talk about what was said during that conversation, but I then discovered that something's wrong. This number's not mine. Something's not right. So I'm 21 now. I can't get a driver's license. I work. I have a child by now. I need to get to and from. So someone advises me to start calling immigration to find out what my status is. Start calling. Every single time I call, I get a different representative and a different set of answers. I was told finally that my case was abandoned, that I did have an approved I-130 petition, but it had been abandoned because it was 5 or 6 years old and nothing had been done on it. There was supposed to be a follow-up application for I-495. The ball was dropped. Nobody filed for you. Your case was abandoned. It's sent to some warehouse, like it's sleeping. It went night-night. So I'm asking, how could this be? They're asking me, how could this be? Because people are so excited normally to get a response from immigration. So in your case, they got a response and they never followed up. So the lady's putting ideas in my head like, somebody did you dirty. Like, did you move? I said, no, we've been at the same house. My grandmother still live at that same house to this day. She was like, something happened. Someone stole your mail. Something happened. But even then, in 5-6 years, no one called to follow up. And like, what? So people on the phone at this 800 number was starting to be like, something ain't right. So I got people that told me, your grandmother needs to call back and reopen this case. Something happened. She needs to follow up. At this point, I just had my baby. If you know anything about Haitian families, they frown on having kids right out of high school. So needless to say, me and my grandmother were not on the best of terms. Went back to my grandmother and she's like, well, you left the house, so you're on your own. All right, so now I'm calling. One day turned into a week, turned into a month, turned into like 10 years of me trying to get this thing together. I couldn't do it by myself. Along the way, some things happened and I became an adult trying to fend for myself, undocumented. Now I'm fully aware that I'm undocumented. I don't have a driver's license, so I'm driving without a driver's license. Again, read between the lines. Every day I get up and I get behind the wheel, I'm breaking the law. Along the way, the only job I could get were to work at a restaurant. The restaurant's the only job, and I'll forever be grateful for that industry. The only job that didn't press you about documentation. If you had a social and an ID, they were cool. So I was walking around with this expired ID for years and just basically charming my way through interviews, and I would get one job and stick to it. So I was cool. I even moved from Orlando, Florida to Georgia, where also I finagled my way into some companies and, you know, worked at some of the nicest restaurants, made a little bit of money, but never legal. Under some sort of administration, I can't remember what it was, I winged it and applied for a work authorization. By the grace of God, it got approved. So I now have a work authorization that was valid for 2 years, 5 years maybe, 5 years. Got a work authorization. With that work authorization, I was able to get a driver's license, something I hadn't touched in my hand for years. I was able to get a driver's license. I was able to like maneuver. So now I got a work authorization. I'm able, you know, I got a social security number, an actual social security number that was for me, my social security number. So I'm able to function, but 5 years came to an abrupt end really quickly. So now I'm back to, so before it expired, I went ahead and I reapplied. They were like, nah, you got lucky. We don't even know how they approved this. I applied and I applied and I applied. They would not renew it. So now I have a little bit of leverage. My license isn't 10 years expired. It's now, like, it moved me along, but I'm still not legit. Again, life is lifing, things are happening, and then 2010 happened. TPS presents itself. So of course I run to go try to apply for TPS. I did not get qualified. Now there's reasons for that, and I'll get to that when I'm ready. I was not qualified for TPS. Again, 2012 under Obama, Daca presents itself. I'm like, this is it. This is gonna be it. Again, I was not approved for Daca. So all these things that I tried to apply for, because I dropped the ball, my family dropped the ball, I just did not get qualified for certain things. Because TPS and Daca, you were approved as long as A, B, C, D, in that order. Nothing like there's a certain pathway that things had to follow, if you get what I'm saying. You couldn't have been involved in anything illegal. You couldn't have had any arrests, anything like that. So unfortunately for me, I did not fit under that category. That's why I didn't meet the criteria of DACA and TPS. And even the marriage thing, even if I decided after 2010, 2012 to get married, I still would be disqualified. So along the way, again, things started getting harder. Each administration put something in place that made it that much harder for me to get my papers, until the final administration, Mr. 45 himself, and here I am today. So just to give you guys a little bit of clarity, but not too much. And I promise I'll get more into things as the time go by and as I feel safe to do so. But just know that it's not like I just slept for 30 days and never tried. There were things attempted, but there are things that even I can't answer. I'm not sure why after my I-130 was approved, my family never applied for my I-495. I do not know. That's like the question of the century within our family. There's a lot of us trying to figure out what happened here. Was it out of malice? Was it ignorance? Was it like, what happened? Why didn't they approve? Back in those days, if you know, a form might have been $100 back then to fill out. Now that form is every bit of $1,500. Things were so much easier back then. And I was in the country. I was there. There was so many opportunities for me. I was a child. I hadn't done anything to stop me from being legal. There was nothing that would have stopped me back then. But unfortunately, for one, my grandmother was not an American citizen. That played a little bit of part in it. She became a citizen, I think I was 27. By then I had already aged out. You have to be under 18 to derive citizenship. I have some of my cousin that came from Haiti. They came legal, but because they were minors, as soon as their mom became citizens, they derived it automatically. They didn't even have to take the test. They didn't have to do anything. They just became citizens off the strength of their parent. I wasn't that lucky. My grandmother couldn't, it was a language barrier. I think now they give you the test in your language, but back then my grandmother could not pass the test. So she never became a citizen until after I was 27, well into adulthood, doing some of the things. And so just to give you guys a little bit of feedback on what happened within those 30 years, I was not just being negligent. There was a lot of negligence. There was a lot of shoulda, coulda, wouldas, but I did attempt a few things. I did spend money. I did try to call and fix things on my own once I found out that I was undocumented. But to be all the way honest with you, until I was over 18, I didn't know I was undocumented. And if I did at 15, what was I gonna do? There wasn't much I could do. So I just wanted to kind of give you guys a little bit of backstory as to what happened within them 30 years. Like, why didn't you attempt at getting something done? So now you have the reason why I never got married. You have the reason why I didn't qualify for Daca. You have the reasons why TPS didn't work. And you have what happened from the time I was a child until now to getting removed. And so again, if you stick around, I promise I'll get into more detail. I'll do some story times to give you some of the reasons. But for now, just follow along, comment, like, share, subscribe, and keep engaging with me. Good, bad, or ugly. I appreciate it all. Thank you for the engagement. And as always, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.